self-care within this industry, and you would probably know too, like, it's a hard industry to break into. And I feel like, I know me in the beginning, there was a lot of times where I wasn't taking care of myself, and my life just felt like it was unhinged, when if I would have just taken like maybe a minute to breathe, think, okay, we're going to do this, we're good. A lot of stuff in my past would have been a lot easier to get through. But now, as I am a lot older than I was, well, obviously everybody gets old, but I have more of an appreciation for self-care and giving myself that time to cool down,
If you're a professional actor challenged by an increasingly fragmented industry, then this podcast is for you. The Hollywood Actor Podcast is an anthology made up of the stories of actors building their bodies of work by redefining themselves, reframing their goals, and reevaluating their opportunities. No matter where we are in our careers, we're always looking to be inspired and to share ourselves across our community. This podcast offers that opportunity to guests and to listeners alike, as we all discover what it means to be a working, professional, successful actor. This is Jamie Young, and you're listening to the Hollywood Actor Podcast. Today's guest is Manni L. Perez. Manni's a New York City-based actor with training from NYU Tisch and Stonestreet. Her credits include NBC's The Blacklist, NBC's Chicago PD, and the 2018 short film The Dark Age. Watch for her in the upcoming films The Unborn and A Cupful of Crazy, both currently in production, and follow Manni on Facebook and on Instagram. Now let's listen into my conversation with Hollywood actor Manni L. Perez.
When I was younger, I always knew I wanted to be a performer. I grew up in the woods in Port Jervis, New York, but more of a rural area. And we didn't really have a lot of theater or anything too artistic or cultural within that town. So just looking on YouTube, seeing other people's journeys in their lives through the internet, I was able to figure out what it was I wanted to do. And I had done like plays in high school, but nothing really serious. I didn't take it as like, oh, I'm going to be an actor. I thought I was going to bring some rock singer and travel the world, but I can't sing. So when I was in college, I took an acting course and an improv course as just, electives. Like, oh, well, this is going to be an easy, credit to get in college. It's going to be great. And I actually took a liking to it. And my professor had told me, one day I was in his office because he was also my advisor in college. And he said, have you ever thought about doing TV and film? And I was like, no. He's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to be a rock star and a belly dance teacher. He's like, you can't sing. And then he's like, I can see you doing TV and film. And I thought to myself, I was like, TV and film? You think I got the looks for that? And it was always in the back of my mind. And then I had taken a year off and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And then I applied to NYU, and from what I thought, I miraculously got in somehow. And I was there. I transferred there for 2 years, got my BFA in acting for film, TV, in addition to production for TV and film. And then I was working the business. Like I didn't have a manager. I didn't have an agent. So a lot of the bulk of the work I was getting on my own, word of mouth. Oh, have you, because my stage name is different from my real name. So they would be like, oh, have you heard Amanda? She's pretty great. And I would get roles that way. But it wasn't anything big. Like sometimes they didn't pay, or sometimes I never got the footage, or, and then I actually took a break from acting completely. I started a whole new life. I got engaged, bought a house, bought a car, everything. And then I woke up one day and I was like, I really need this. Like, I felt like I couldn't live if I didn't do the acting.
Yeah.
And just by chance, the universe, whatever it was, my friend Justin, he just signed to a new agency called 90210 Talent. And the agent who owned that agency, she saw me in a web series that me and Justin had done years ago. And she was like, I want her. Bring her over here. And I just so
happened... Was that the Utilities Not Included?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And it just so happened that same day that she wanted to meet me was a day that I was going to CBS for, they were having like this free course about business and headshots and everything. And I was like, you know what, let me do it. So I flew in, I met the agent, and she's like, girl, I want to sign you right now. I was like, oh, well, what? She's like, girl, you are hot right now. I want to sign you right now. So I packed up all my stuff, packed up my car with my clothes, left my fiance, left my house, didn't leave my car. And I just came back. We signed. She sent me out on 2 auditions within that first week I was back in New York. Miraculously, I booked them both. It was one for Blind Spot and another for Jessica Jones. I booked them. And then she introduced me to my manager now. Because 90210 Talent is no longer an agency. So they closed down. But when they were still up and running, they introduced me to Genevieve Brewer. And let me tell you, she is an angel. She really is. She took a chance with signing me because I didn't have anything prior or any miraculous resume or anything. She just took it on a feeling. So I signed with her, and me and her, we've been, I think it's going on 2 or 3 years. She's been my manager, and she has opened up so many amazing doors. In addition to, you know, people through word of mouth in the industry, also reaching out to Genevieve to play roles and leads. And that's where I am right now. It went from just doing co-stars to then this past, what is it called? Pilot season. I was going in for a bunch of different shows that were going to be casted for series regs. So I was in the same room as actors that I looked up to. Like, I remember being in the audition room and seeing these people that I watch on TV were going in for the same role. And all of a sudden, me and Genevieve just started getting a lot of calls for me, of people offering me leads in their film or, you know, all these roles without auditioning. So right now I'm at this like limbo point, you know, between like,
yeah. Well, because you're going in and you're getting to know these casting directors. They're getting to know you. The town is starting to take notice of Manni L. Perez.
Yes. Yeah.
That's exciting.
It is very exciting.
Going back to your training at NYU, did you go immediately from that experience? Because I saw that you studied at NYU through the experimental theater wing.
Uh-huh. Yes, I did.
Did that lead you directly to production? Because that seems like a very different pathway from experimental theater at Dixon Place, like downtown New York City, you know, to kind of, you know, that more polished, like peak TV style of filmmaking that you've now been plugging yourself into. So I'd love if you could talk about that transition for yourself.
Oh man, I wish I had some amazing transitional story for you, but it was more out of fear. When I went to NYU, I was very insecure, and I didn't feel like I was enough as myself. So I thought to myself, oh man, I don't know if this acting thing is going to work out because I don't think I'm good enough or pretty enough or anything. So I got in production because I knew I wanted to work with film. I just didn't know if I want to work behind the camera or in front of it. So I took, during the summer, I took a couple of courses within NYU's TV and film department. Because out of the fear of maybe not being good enough as an actor. And I fell in love with the production side of it as well as, you know, the acting. But that's how I got into also doing production. Because I was like, if I'm too scared to be in front of the camera, maybe I'll be, you know, freaking awesome being behind it, I guess. Yeah.
Were you thinking for that in terms of like creating content or learning the skills to plug into the industry?
Both. I did want to create my own content and direct, as well as I was a DP for a studio for a while. And I used to help coach younger actors as well for their showcases and things like that. But it was both. Like, I felt like putting the fear aside from what I had just said, I tied in with that. I did want to be able to make my own content and just work all facets. I feel like as an actor, I should know not only, you know, the acting portion, but the business side, the production. So then when I am on a set, I know what everyone does and how, for me, it was to know how valuable everybody, even like to the PA that's getting me coffee, how valuable everyone is because I trained in that same medium and I know how hard it is to get to the point where they are. So I feel it brings me closer to the production team in a way, you know, with understanding what they're doing, what they're going through as well.
Oh, yeah. But ideologically, it's such a shifting of gears. Like, I studied a lot of experimental theater while I was an undergraduate at Queen Mary College of the University of London.
Oh,
and then
nice.
going from that to really trying to kind of reinvent myself in a lot of ways because I knew that what I was studying was a lot of devised work and coming from different cultures and looking at acting as being this more like of a larger spectrum of performance studies. And then trying to like refine it for myself and see where I fit in that spectrum. And I did eventually narrow it down, not to necessarily musical theater, but still more of a polished, really plugging into the industry, the machine that I kind of think of the Hollywood industry as being. And that's what led me to go myself to drama school, and kind of led myself a little bit away from devising and creating content. So I didn't know if that was still like a track for you, that you were still wanting to devise content, but plug into the industry simultaneously.
I want to say yes. But when I was put into the experimental theater wing, I didn't know why or what it was on my resume or about myself that they placed me there. I actually learned a lot about acting for film because like you said, everything was devised and it was also theater, and I knew I wanted to work with film specifically. So I took what I learned in ETW. It was more of, I took it less as I'm devising work to create for theater and more as I was finding myself at that time. And a lot of the exercises they had, it was like finding who you are, what you stand for, finding your voice within this industry. But they didn't teach me anything about the business side. So I had to go, or film. So I went to Stonestreet Studios, and that's where I learned more about production in addition to acting for film. So I take a lot of my training from Stonestreet Studios more than ETW.
In front of the camera and behind the camera?
Mainly in front of the camera. Behind the camera, I was in NYU's department for TV and film production.
Okay. Because I know of Stonestreet, but I didn't know how much of that was. I understand. I guess it is more of the actor conservatory experience.
It is a conservatory, but they teach the business side in addition to production and acting in front of the camera, and it was a blessing. Oh, wow. It was a blessing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's extremely holistic of a conservatory. There were a lot of like business classes that were helping you get on your feet once you transitioned out of those programs then, primarily with Stonestreet, you're saying?
Well, with Stonestreet, we had a lot of the teachers that were there are currently in the industry making films. They're casting directors, and they teach there like part-time. So they were telling us about the industry and how does casting work? How does casting see you when you come in? You know, what do managers and agents do for you? What you can do that they do without them, in addition, making your own work for film, editing sound, soundscaping, doing all that. Yeah, they taught me the whole package around.
I see. Wow, that's so valuable. I mean, that is what we have to be as actors now in 2019. We have to be that whole package, wear all those hats. And to know that you are going to do that and you're finding that through your different experiences at these programs and a little bit on the ground as well, and then to be in Stonestreet and find that for yourself with those teachers that are helping you maybe even plug in once you're coming out, transitioning into the working world. That sounds incredibly valuable.
Oh, yeah. They also have showcases where agents and managers and casting directors come in. And I know a lot of people who, through Stonestreet, were casted like as series regs and TV shows and everything, and they're doing fantastic. So it is a great program to go through, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, well, to get the whole package. Like a lot of people, well, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think especially like within the metro area, a lot of people do associate New York with Broadway, and so they try to work towards that goal of musical, like the pinnacle of musical theater. Yes. And a lot of people that are coming from outside of the metro area, they think of New York as being that conservatory experience that will train them up, maybe even primarily for theater, but helping them get that holistic view. And that's what you found through Stonestreet. Coming out of that experience, how long was it before you did meet with 90210 and start plugging in a little bit more in the field?
Oh my goodness. I had, so for the first year I was going out, I did I auditioned for ABC Showcase, got to the end of the callbacks, and I was getting work myself here and there. I mean, it was non-union, so the pay was here and there as well. But it was probably a good, 2 years that I left the whole industry and moved to Texas. And then 2 years after that is when I was contacted by the agent. I wish I had a great story oh man, I climbed up through the ranks and I did this, but it was everything it wasn't a coincidence, but it just lined up perfectly when I realized that acting was something that I wanted to do. I feel like the universe just opened up and I got My friend Justin was amazing, and then I got the amazing contact with Tracy Turton from 90210, Genevieve, and it's just been going up since.
Thanks for listening to the Hollywood Actor Podcast. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to rate and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening.